I am Dr. Krysti DeZonia. I have spent the last 33 years working with children and adults with developmental disabilities. I helped to start Teri, which is a private nonprofit organization here in Southern California. So I've spent most of my career, looking at kind of quality of life related issues, lifespan related issues for this population. Oftentimes parents find that the school years are much easier than the adult years. I hear of a lot of situations of parents who straight on are not prepared for adult life. They're used to having access to all those supports, all those services, and then they're not there anymore and they don't quite know where to turn. In terms of placing their child in a residential program and that not working out, and then the child comes back home, sometimes I hear about that. More often what you see, more often than that, especially again in California because we have entitlements, is sort of moving, lots of movement, one group home to the next group home to the next group home, trying to find a good fit. So the way to avoid that is to start getting involved with this subject matter way before you're interested in having your child be placed. Look at the programs available. Go see them. Go see them more than once. Don't just take the good tour. Right? Kind of pop in and try to really get to know the goods and the bads, because all places have goods and bads. And make sure it's a really good fit for your child. Volunteer if you can. If you think you've identified the best place to serve your child, see if you can volunteer in some capacity. That will really get you familiar with the philosophies of the agency, how they treat each other, how they treat people. So this isn't something you can just kind of look up and go, time to place my child, and have it go smoothly. You have to have done all that groundwork of looking and being involved, knowing what you want. Some parents have to develop. They can't find what they want out there. So they've gone to the work of trying to develop something, which is, even more difficult. But again, it comes back to this idea of planning and being aware of what your options are. There's a few things that happen right before and certainly after graduation that I would consider to be problems that need to be addressed. So maybe we'll talk about it that way. The first thing that happens consistently across almost every parent is a failure to plan adequately. So while everyone does transition planning, that's part of the law, and we all set these goals for what's going to happen in the future for a child with special needs, they're not specific enough or crafted enough, and they're not tied in enough to what's going on in the public school. You will lose a lot of the supports and services you currently have. So there's not access to OT and PT and speech unless you can get it through your insurance company, or maybe for an assessment here or there you might get that funded, but that all goes away. The next thing that goes away is the ability to get one-to-one supports. A lot of families have children who are used to getting pull-out or even straight-on one-to-one across the day, and it's very, very rare. I mean, almost never happens in 33 years that an adult could get access to that. So it's critical that while your child is in school receiving one-to-one, you are actively working on weaning them off of that one-to-one, because they're going to go in California immediately into a 1 teacher to 3 adult ratio. That's the best ratio they have. More often 1 staff for 4 adults. So while I know the struggle that parents have, of course you can get a better education when you just have 1 guy and their only job is to educate your child. The downside to that is pretty significant. We see kids ending up at home because the adult programs won't take them because they're not able to function without a one-to-one. So that's the next thing that I would talk about relative to getting ready for adulthood. And the third is to be developing support circles right now. And we all, you and I usually or often get our jobs because we have connections of some sort or another. Somebody knows someone and they introduce you, and you start off, your first job is working for some friend of the family, right? Those social connections don't exist for a lot of our children or young adults with special needs. And so starting to develop those while they're still in school. Who do you know? What kinds of volunteer or work experience activities could you bring your son or daughter into Uncle Charlie's restaurant, and have them play some sort of a role? Tapping into those resources. California is the only state in the United States right now that has entitlement for adults. And what that means is if you live in California and you're an adult, you are entitled to receive adult services. That would include adult day programs, adult training programs, job coaching, all of that you're entitled to. Same with residential. You are entitled to residential services. So if no existing residential provider wants to serve you for some reason, the state has to develop something for you because of those entitlements. Other states do not have those. So what that means is your child could graduate and be on a 15-year waiting list, which I hear is not uncommon, for, say, work support or day program training. So that kind of tells the parent, I need to be laying the groundwork right now for what I'm going to do with my child, because there's likely going to be a big wait unless you happen to live in California. Our vision for the Campus of Life, it's a big vision, but we've had 30 years of knowing kind of what works for people. It's really been a privilege to, we started this in our mid-20s, I won't say how old we are now, but a lot of the people that moved in with us were also in their mid-20s, and now they're, not anymore. And so we've had the ability to see what made a difference in people's lives, right? A lot of their parents have passed away now, and what made a quality life and what didn't meet a quality life. And so the Campus of Life is a place, I really feel that there's a need for models out there. There's a huge need for people to look up and go, what's working? Can we go watch it? Can we be part of it? So the Campus of Life is designed to be a model to showcase different designs of different ways to help and support people across the lifespan, where anybody can sort of come, watch it, join it, research it. That's our vision for the Campus of Life, and it goes from actually preschool all the way through, we have no upper end age, retirement. We have people right now in their late 60s, early 70s participating in retirement programs. So it is all about the lifespan for families as well as for people with special needs. So we also want to support those families and be sure that they're doing what they need to do, to manage that lifespan and pass the torch. The campus is for all levels of disability, cognitive disability as well as physical disability. Our history at Teri has been with people with much more significant intellectual and behavioral disorders, but in recent years we've started developing programs for folks that just they're not finding the right fit in the community and they need something different. And they're very capable folks, but they're trying to find a home sort of where they feel accepted. So the campus will have a wide range of opportunities. We have a college program called Kilmer College that's an adult ed sort of option. We have a culinary institute, a fitness institute, a center for the arts and adult education. So we have a wide range, and it's set up for a wide range of people. What's interested me greatly in my career has been quality of life. Absolutely, hands down, number one. Quality of life for families and quality of life for the people who have special needs themselves. We all want to be happy, right? And we all define happy in a different way. And so how do we make sure that people who can't do it by themselves, presumably you or I can go out and have happy lives, we make choices and we live with those. But the people with special needs that we're all responsible for, they're kind of looking to us to figure out what a happy life looks like and to do what we can to make sure they're able to have it. And it's an endlessly fascinating topic to me. What makes us happy? What can we do now to make sure we're happy in the future? How can parents be happy despite the struggles that go along with parenting a child with special needs? I never get tired of that subject because it really spreads across everything. Staff turnover is a tremendous problem when it comes to adult services. It's low pay, the people are not as well educated typically as people in public schools are. So how do you take those staff who are really responsible for somebody's happiness, right, during the day or in the residence, and make sure that their quality of life is good too? Because if they're happy, then the chances are better that their children will be happy. So I could probably talk for a million hours about quality of life or a happy life, but that's absolutely what drives me, is that. If there's parents that want to try to start their own innovative program or home or school or something like that, I absolutely recommend that you sit down as a group and you put down your vision. So you know your philosophy. This is what we want. This is absolutely what we don't want. This is what we hope people will get out of our program. Get that all nailed down. and then start approaching existing organizations that have a good reputation and a long history. Fiscal management is huge in the nonprofit world. We keep getting cuts, and one of the things our agency has spent a lot of time on is sustainability. How can we be a sustainable agency and not rely completely on government funds for everything that we do? So look around for the agencies in your area and approach them. We've opened, I think it's been 3 programs just recently exactly that way. Parents came to us with this big list of what they wanted, and we sat down with them and we worked with them to try to get it started. And so their feedback was all involved in what we did. However, they're not managing it. They're not having to hire the staff and do the daily. So that would be my recommendation. Certainly you could start a nonprofit yourself and manage it yourself, but you have to be prepared. It's a full-time job. I absolutely see the Campus of Life as being a visionary project, because what I've found is that there's so much focus and attention on early intervention, and so much, not as much, but a little bit more focus and attention on the school years and the IPs and that whole process. But as a society, it's kind of like we haven't really thought about the fact that these children become adults. And there is absolutely a dearth of models for what that adult, what can you do to make a happy life a possibility for adults? What do we need to have in place, and what do those services look like? So we started off serving adults, and then kind of went backwards and started serving children after the fact. And I think that perspective of 33 years of doing that, I do absolutely think we're visionaries when it comes to how do you create programs and supports that can make people happy across their lifespan. We've had 33 years of doing it. So we have a message to share, an important one, I think, and that's what we hope to do through that campus. In the meantime, we reach out to anybody that we can reach out to. Now, parents are getting a lot more supports. Parents have a lot more opinions about what they want. They want a lot more involvement than 30 years ago parents were looking to have. It's a different society. I think it's good. I think it's a really good change. So it is a matter of sitting down. I think as an agency, we have an obligation to try to help families get what they want, try to get those programs up and running that people think they need. So I don't know that every agency would feel that way, but we certainly do.